Okay, that is 5:45 by my watch. So I will call this March 23rd meeting of the Carson City Library Board of Trustees to order. And move on to item 2, public comment. Members of the public who wish to address, oh, I'm sorry, I skip that all the time, don't I? The roll call.
Chair Hayes.
Present.
Vice Chair Solinger.
Here.
Trustee Liberati.
Here.
Trustee Long. Trustee Patton.
Here.
A quorum's present.
Thank you very much, and welcome to our new trustee. All right, moving on to item 2, public comment. Members of the public who wish to address the library board may come forward at this time. Note that comment may be limited to 3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Dr. Lawrence E. Nelson, and there are 2 items I'd like to address, but we talked about doing it separately. And the first one, I spoke last year and had some communication with Sina about a problem that seems to be growing and getting worse. And that is the problem of people stealing or just forgetting to return items that they've checked out from the library. And the problem is, today, there's basically no policy to encourage people to do it, to return it on in a timely basis. And I asked Sina to research it, and you probably have these figures, but in fiscal year 2016, the estimated replacement cost is $45,651, which was lost. But I personally have tried to check out DVDs. They're just gone, and nobody knows. And there was several cameras that were a very helpful resource, but most of them are gone. And no one does anything to try and get them back, or, it's just sort of, nothing happens. And so NRS section 379.160 gives you the permission to have fines up to $500. And I would hope that the board would decide that it would be good to encourage people to return items and not steal, some of these big ones. But if in the past there's been nothing to do, there's just no consequence. And the thing that worries me is the problem has been growing, and it could get worse. You probably all know the quote by Sir Edmund Burke: all it takes for evil to triumph is enough good men, and I'll insert women, to do nothing. So that's why I wanted to mention that one.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. At this time, we're not able to take action on that because it's not on an agenda. However, we will take that under consideration.
Thank you. May I mention the second comment now?
Yes.
I've been using libraries all over the country for a long time. And I've had 2 problems in the library where people were making noise, and I went up to the desk and they said, you should talk to the supervisor, and I talked to Rachel. He said, well, we just don't have a policy. And I was sort of surprised by that. And then yesterday I was trying to do research, and somebody was having a pizza party in one of the collaboration rooms, and it was very loud, and I just had to leave. And I knew there was no policy. There used to be a policy, and almost every other library in the United States has a policy, but this one doesn't. And I would encourage the board to have a policy the director, doesn't want one. And if you were running a McDonald's or a Starbucks, I would agree. But by definition, the definition of a library is reading books and reading. I mean, that's what it's all about. And so that's what I'm very concerned about, because I think the library can be even better. And I understand there's a room for teenagers and a room for kids, and, they're going to talk. So it's very good that there's accommodations for them. But I think it would be nice to have an accommodation for someone that wants to read in the library. And so, that's something I hope you guys will decide to address.
Okay. Thank you for that. Again, insofar as action tonight, there's nothing that we can do because it's not on the agenda. However, we will, again, take that under consideration. To address your point to a certain extent, and I'd welcome Sina to jump into this as well, we are, especially the teen rooms and everything like that, those are rooms for collaboration between the teens and everything like that. And we don't want to stifle that communication. And I believe
that's a great addition. That's a good thing.
Majority of the library falls under that same umbrella. So.
Well, that's the problem. There is no policy.
Right.
There's nothing. And when I've talked to, people with a problem, they said, well, there's nothing we can do. And I think that could be easily corrected.
So it is correct that the library does not have a noise policy. That does predate me in this position.
So, thank you very much for your comment, though.
Can those things be placed on the agenda?
We'll definitely look into it, yeah.
I'm not sure procedurally how it works, but I know you said both of those things can't really be addressed.
We can't take action on them tonight because they're not on this agenda.
Can they be on the agenda for your next meeting?
We'll look into it, yeah.
Great. Well, thank you.
With that, we'll move on to item 3, approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Did everybody have a chance to review those minutes? And were there any corrections necessary?
I did not find any that corrections needed to be made.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion that we accept them as presented.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
All right, those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Moving on to item 4, the Friends of the Carson City Library report.
Oops, there is a report in your packet from our bookstore manager, so she kind of gave you an overview of how things are going in the bookstore. However, there are other things that the Friends do besides run the bookstore, so I kind of wanted to bring you up to date on that, and she and I have the discussion about making that report more an overview of the whole thing. But we are working with a partnership now with the Talking Book Services program from the State Library. They will be setting up a display starting the 1st of April for at least a temporary introductions to people as to what the Talking Books program is and who's eligible to use it and all that sort of thing. And we will be collaborating with them from time to time on other displays. Some of their volunteer readers will be joining the Friends. We hope some of our friends will be volunteering to be readers. So we'll be kind of like a Friends group for that program also. We are also in the process of applying for a grant from the Better World Books group to help us fund the Literacy for Babies program that we've been wanting to start for the last couple of years and have had trouble coming up with the finances. So that is moving forward. We're ordering the kits from the American Library Association, but we're also working with the local seamstress from the patchwork quilt place who is actually making bibs for us to add to those kits. We'll be giving them free coupons for a book at the bookstore. So what we are trying to do is to catch babies and parents at the very beginning to teach them how important it is to read to those babies and to talk, have conversations with them even though they can't talk back to you. Well, those are the best times to have conversations with them. So those are the kinds of things we're doing besides running the bookstore and doing other fundraisers.
Excellent, thank you, Phyllis. All right, moving on to item 5, the youth liaison report, which has been moved up. Do we have a youth liaison?
We do not have one today. Oh. Natalie Wood, Creative Learning Manager for the record. We don't have one today. Spring break is going on currently, so we have not seen very many teens other than for our maker camp. But for that report, anti-Valentine's Day party was on Tuesday, February 14th, and that went really well. We had quite a few students attend, 35 that we counted. It was very loud, it was very fun. The kids did a lot of activities. They were dancing, they were doing karaoke, they were playing games, they were playing video games, did some arts and crafts, and we supplied some food for them. And that was an event that they actually requested and planned and helped organize. The prom dress drive, that also happened the beginning of this month. We've been collecting since the end of January, and it went over very well. We had our lots of participation from Carson High School. Home Depot donated stuff. We had donations from Mary Kay Consultants, Patchwork Giraffe, and then also Stephanie Lauder. Miss Nevada Bailey Gum was in attendance as well to help out, and she was there actually helping girls try on dresses, making recommendations, and just being there for the event. Total, we had 30 teens in attendance, and we had a few that came afterwards after the events asking for dresses, and we were able to get them fitted and get some dresses after the events. So they both went very well, and we had teens helping with that event as well, sorting dresses, organized dresses, and trying dresses on while they were helping and volunteering. So it was a fun event for the teens. Any questions?
Phenomenal, thank you very much. Moving on to item 6, Library Board of Trustees business. Did any trustees have any business? Seeing none, we can move on to item 7, the Library Director Administrative Reports.
Okay, so we do have our budget here. What you're looking at is updated from last month. You first have our library funding, our revenue coming in, and what that looks like in actual revenue received, not necessarily revenue promised, like say by the Friends of the Library. We then have our library funding expenditures. That's the net total expenditures at this point of the year. We then move into the City 101 budget. We are currently 62% expended, and we are 67% through the year. Now, with that, we are having some salary savings this year, and so we did go to the city manager and internal finance committee here in the city, and we requested that salary savings be used to, 1, cover our fiber internet telephone line. That's something that we added and we've been able to find budget for the last 3 years, including this year, and that's because we have salary savings, so we can cover that. Just this afternoon, we also presented for the FY18 budget for that to be added to our budget. So it wouldn't be a flat budget, that would be the only addition. We also are using salary savings approved by IFC to match the Friends funding to replace our signboard out in front of the library, and so that will happen before the end of this fiscal year. We received $2,000, so not a lot, because it is about a $12,000 expense, but there is some there. And then the third thing we received with our salary savings was approval to install a video surveillance system to address some of the issues that public comment did bring up today, as well as provide safety for staff and for patrons in the library. So are there any questions about what you're seeing here with the 101 budget? So if there's no questions, moving on to the grant budget, which is the 275. In here, we have our state collection development grant that is being expended as we speak. Those funds come from the state. They are not federally funded, and they help us essentially build our collection and be able to collect kind of specific things that our community would like, but also that can be lendable to other communities as well. El Dia de los Niños, that is going on currently, and expenditures have been made, and it's really El Dia now, even though the line item in the city budget still says El Dia de los Niños. We also have our statewide reading, our bully-free zone, and our mobile makerspace. Now, one of the things that I do want to comment with this, if you have not heard, or those that are watching have not heard, the Institute of Museum and Library Services has been proposed to be eliminated in the president's budget. If that were to occur, the impact to us would not just be in our grant funding, which is what you're seeing here. Most of these grants are federally funded in some manner, or all of them are federally funded with match from the Friends of the Library. But we would be experiencing some issues with the state library not being able to fully fund the statewide databases that the state pays for, and that includes for the school districts. So this is across the state. Individuals would no longer have access to EBSCO, which is a very extensive, large database that people can access. It also has our consumer reports that are online. That's $330,000 approximate dollars for the entire state of Nevada. But if we were not to be in the consortium and to purchase it that way through the state, we're looking at probably a $25,000 to $30,000 cost just for us, and we do not have that in our budget. We don't have the flexibility to be able to purchase something like that. That's the big database, but also Learning Express, which does teach computer skills. It also has citizenship skills and testing on there. That would be eliminated if the IMLS were eliminated. As well as one of the pieces of World Book. There's 6 different modules of World Book, and one is paid for with federal funding, and the remaining is paid for with state funding for statewide databases. But the state library had proposed to cut the rest of the funding for World Book, and so we would not have an online encyclopedia unless we funded that ourselves. So that's the grant report for you. Now moving on to the gift fund. It's pretty much the same as when we had looked at this last. We are working still on moving the book lease program to the right line item. Is it moved in the report? It's not in the report yet, that's what I thought. Okay, so Diane was saying it has been officially moved, but it has not shown up yet. But essentially, our gift fund, as well as the Friends funding that goes into our gift fund, a lot of that does go to leverage our federal funding for grants so that we can get the most out of that money. And we will be looking at how we can do that in the future. Are there any questions about the budget? Do you want me to just go?
Nope.
Okay, going on into the rest of my report, you have the written report here. Legislative update, SB 115 on 228, it was heard, no action. On 316, by the time I had printed this report, it had not been heard yet, but it has now been heard and it has passed the Senate. That bill is revisions to allowing open carry on library. It's adding public libraries to the specific bill that limits open carry on educational campuses, essentially. SB 143, which requires a public school to have a school library and a licensed librarian. This was heard, no action, and they're looking at potential, they're also looking at potential amendments for 115 in the assembly, but they're also looking for SB 143, and it's currently a non-funded mandate, and they're seeing if they can find funding to make it a funded mandate. And I just explained to you the state library budget and how that will impact us, as well as IMLS potentially being defunded. That is not in my report because I, again, wrote this report before that news actually came out. Other news, we were invited by the Institute of Museum and Library Services to write a blog and have that posted on their Next Level blog, and we did. And the beginning of the blog is there, and then the link to where you can go and find that information is there as well. But we talked about in there, in honor of Teen Tech Week, our NC Lab, which is our coding and kind of online creative suite program that we use with the kids in our community, as well as our Minecraft, where it's more of a sandbox learning environment, but it's Minecraft EDU, so it's not as crazy as normal Minecraft. We then have just a snapshot. So if you go to https://performance.carson.org, what you'll see are 3 different measures for the Carson City Library that the city manager has, we've worked with the city manager to put up there. They've been up there for a while now, so there is some good data in there. That's also open data, so people can pull that information and do different studies and such. But you'll see that we have one of our items as increase in digital equity through having 42,000 computer sessions by July 2017. And current as of February 2017, we had 29,544.93 hours, and we're on track to meet that target. Below those, you'll see we now can track our Wi-Fi users, which is wonderful, and the number of gigabytes that they are using, and it is impressive what they are using, and that does mean that our services are being used in the library. The last item that I have is the library director performance review, so that will be coming up. And I just wanted to note here that a 360 evaluation is going to be going out to staff as well as partners, and then that data will be aggregated by Diane without my knowledge of who submitted those. We're going to try and do online via Google Form this time around instead of a paper copy, so it's easier to remain anonymous. And that will then be provided to you guys when you go forth and do my review. And then you just have the review policy and procedure here for you to take a look at. I am an unclassified employee, but I am an appointed unclassified employee by you all, so it is a review in a public meeting. So just want to remind you of that. If there are no other questions, I am done with my report.
So when we come back for the next meeting, could we see what the fiscal impact would be on a percentage or total amount of dollars, what the impact?
Absolutely. For Carson City Library specifically, or would you like to
Yes.
see Carson City and statewide?
Well, specifically for us, but I think what you're saying is that the state library is going to impact us. It would give us, so I think we need to see that part too.
Okay, I can do that, because some of that is services provided, so we don't put out any funds to receive those statewide databases.
Right.
But if we were have to purchase them ourselves, we would see impact.
It would, yeah, because I think what I'd like to see is not only with the dollars and stuff, but if there's a way to project the amount of usage lost. I don't know if you can extrapolate that kind of thing, to see what the services that we would be losing and how that would affect our clients. I think that would be nice to know. Because somebody's going to want to know, why don't we get this anymore? And we're going to say, we lost this and we anticipate it's going to affect these many people. So, yeah, if you could.
I think we can.
Okay, great.
I think we can.
Thank you.
All right, were there any other questions? Okay, in that case, thank you very much for your report. We can move on to item 8, the other administrative reports, starting with the grants administration.
Thank you, Diane Baker, Department Mrs. Manager, for the record. And you can see what I have in front of you is very visual. We've gotten to a point in the mobile makerspace grant where so much is happening with the different levels, and it's really at the production what the participants in the after-school program, what they are producing as part of the program. And some of the things you see there with the geosticks, learning to shape sizes, manipulate things, and actually build, prototype, try things, and see what comes out of it has been very engaging. We have established some very good relationships at the different schools, in so much that there are individuals, some of the kids that are there, when they see us, they come running up to us when we're there. So it's very, that part is very nice aspect of the program as well. What you're seeing in the other pages there is the new aspect. We got started just before spring break, and our great tech trainer, Travis McDonald, has been working on this as well, where they're getting started into stop action. Animation production. So starting with a storyboarding, learning to tell a story, storyboard it out, working with different figures. And so we hope to be able to show you some of their results in an upcoming meeting as well. And the other item there that you have that we are getting ready to have that permanently or set into the mobile maker van is our laser cutter that you see there. And that's going to be one of the final programs that the students will be doing in that, the after-school program. They'll be doing 3D as well. But this is one of our cool things that we've got in place now. And yeah, it's going to be exciting things, again, for the students to be able to imagine something, try something out, prototype, and learn to, be able to work through that process to produce something with that. So that's what I have at this point. Did you have any questions?
Yes.
All right.
The laser cutter in the mobile maker, in the
maker van?
the maker thing.
Oh, not that, it won't be in that.
Okay,
Yeah,
in the van.
yeah.
Is that coming in and out every night, or is that going to be in there permanently?
That will be secured in there, and once we get all the equipment in the van, it unfortunately will not be able to live at the library because the equipment that will be in the van will be a little too expensive. So our option at this point is we will probably be keeping it at the sheriff's
Thank
park
you.
lot. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. That's all my questions.
Very good. Anything else? Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much, Dan. Moving on to the creative learning update.
Natalie Wood, Creative Learning Manager, for the record. Sina, I had already mentioned the grant funds that we have for DIA, Diversity in Action. We are going to be kicking off the programs for April for DIA on April 5th. We have a kickoff event where we're going to have a movie and craft, and we will be giving out passports where participants can actually get a little sticker put on their passport for each event that they participate in. And once they participate in all the events, at the end we'll have a party where they can come in and earn prizes to promote reading and diversity and culture in our community. We have some really great partnerships through this program, plans with the Railroad Museum, with the Latinos Unidos, WNC, and a few others that are just escaping my mind right now. So it's going to be a really fun program in April, well, multiple programs in April. And the next one would be the Pedal Library, our book, bike, and trailer. We have a picture of it on the screen up here. It is in Carson City right now, and we are all very excited to have this. We also have a couple other images that I think Sina has. We chose red, and it was the first pedal library they've made red, and they were very excited about that, the Bergen group was. They've done green and blue, that's what everyone wants. And this is a video of it getting prepped for being, for powder coating. And within this program, we also have a great partnership with the Friends of the Library, the Visitors Bureau, the Bike Smith in town. They're our go-to bike shop in town, muscle-powered, NDOT, Health and Human Services with Safe Routes to School. We have a lot of eager people for this program and for this outreach and for this opportunity in Carson City. So we're very excited to have it in Carson and almost starting. We are going to have a meeting next week to finalize and plan for the schedule and getting out there and actually using it. Any questions?
You know my question. What are you going to do with this overnight?
It's going to be inside the library. We actually, when we're not using it for outreach and when we don't have it filled with books, it will be in the library as a display with books on it. It also would fit very nicely in the digitorium. And then the bike we can store in the shed if we need that out of the way.
Thank you.
Do you want to store it at your house? Just kidding. Just kidding.
Please, I don't want it out. I mean, I'll drive it down every day.
Yeah, my question was, who's going to be towing the trailer?
So we actually have some of the volunteers. Muscle Powered is very interested in helping with some of that. Myself, Aubrey, and Sina are the most vocal of interested in riding it and towing it around town. We have a few other staff that are interested in putting it in the van and driving it somewhere and pulling it out. But the interest to actually get it around town, we have actually 4 staff. James is also interested, and he rides his bike to
I'm
work.
serious. I will store it if it push comes to shove.
And it's very catchy, so I think just having it as a display in the library is going to be fun.
Right.
Moving it around the library, the digitorium, upstairs, in the front, having it outside on nice days with the staff, you know, in the secret garden on nice days, so we have a lot of opportunities.
Phenomenal. And it looks like we've got the video ready to go.
There we go. So that's in a big paint booth. Okay.
Excellent. Well, did we have any more questions? Okay, thank you very much, Natalie. All right, moving on to our access services update.
And for the record, Kathy Rush, Access Services Manager. So in the report you have in your packet for Access Services is highlighting some of the lesser-known collections and items that we provide to the public. And the first is our daily newspapers that come into the libraries, some of them daily, some of them weekly, and our staff has to hustle to get them ready to be ready for the patrons when the library opens. And we do check those into Polaris, our database, every issue that comes, which not only lets us know that we're not missing an issue, but also it means that from any desk, staff can look up and tell a patron, yes, we have that. If it's not on the shelf, it could be that someone is reading it, you know, somewhere else. But it's nice to be able to tell someone, yes, you know, yes, we have it, or no, it hasn't come yet. And then we also have our slat walls at the front of the library in the foyer, which is a very popular place for people to post information for the public. And we do review everything that is put up there to be sure that it's of a nonprofit nature and that it also you know, is something that will benefit the public in some way or further, you know, the goals that we're trying to accomplish. And every once in a while, we spot something that someone just put up, contraband, and we do take those down, but it does happen. Then this is the time of year that we do have tax forms out for people to use, and I want to give a shout out to the State Library Archives and Records because they procure the tax forms and have graciously offered to share those with us. And we have actually had to replenish now 3 times. And we have our new batch in just today. And we're pretty sure that's all we're going to get. So we hope that it'll stretch through to tax day. And that's pretty much all I have. Any questions?
They can steal all of them if they want.
Thank you very much, Kathy. All right, moving on to our collection development.
Jeremy,
Oh,
I want to know, who's ironing the newspapers these days?
Who's ironing them? We don't iron them. Sorry.
and moving on to our collection development report.
Amy Lauder, Collection Development Manager. So one of the new fun things we did last month was an idea that was brought to us by Kim, who's actually on Natalie's team, but she had seen a video that the New York Public Library had done on Facebook where they had some of their librarians sit down and do a Facebook Live video talking about some of the books that they liked and also taking questions and giving recommendations to people live online. So this is something that she really wanted to do, and she told Rachel and I, and we're like, yes, we want to do this too. We'd been talking about doing a podcast, doing something, getting some of our more booky stuff kind of out there in the world. And so she was really instrumental in helping us set that up and getting it going, and that was one of our most popular videos we have put on our page. We had over 460 views. I got some really nice feedback from people walking into the library saying, oh, we saw that, we really loved it, it was really fun, we liked it a lot. And we had a lot of fun doing it. So Kim is out on maternity leave, but we hope she comes back and hangs out with us soon so we can do that again. But that was a really fun outreach thing to do that didn't take a lot of time or prep or money or any of those things that we're so short on. Another fun thing that we got to add last month was for our Overdrive services. I feel like I talk about Overdrive a lot, but they've been really hitting it out of the park lately. And one of the things they added very recently that has gone over extremely well is they added what they call e-reading rooms for kids and teens, and also with the option to create them for other audiences. Like there are libraries who have done them for their Chinese-speaking populations or things like that. But we did add the kids and the teens, and I was able to present those at an outreach event at Bordewick Bray Elementary School. And many of those parents and kids that we talked to, they're like, oh yeah, we use ebooks, but they'd had trouble like trying to browse them because they're all mixed together, and now they can just click on the kids page and be like, here's the tablet, find something you want to read, and they don't have to like look over their shoulder or anything and make sure what they're looking for. So that went really well, and we got some really positive feedback about that, and I think it's really fantastic. So we had some fun stuff happening. Does anybody have any questions?
I have one.
Yes.
Do you guys do like featured books by like staff picks and stuff at the library?
We do. It's on our Facebook.
Oh, good.
I've been putting those up, so
I like
yes, we
that
do.
idea. That's good.
Huh? I would love the board to give me picks. So if any of you have books that you want to recommend, just send me an email and I will post them.
And you just need the title.
I need a title, and I want a line or two about why you like it, most importantly. I can look up things like the author and stuff like that, but as long as we have it. As long as we have it. Yeah, as long as we have it. And then I can link to it so people can check it out. Yeah, that would be fantastic. That's a great idea.
Very cool. Thank you very much, Amy. All right. And that brings us to item 9, board members' announcements and RFIs. Did anybody have any announcements?
I forgot to tell you in the Friends report that we also recently received a very generous donation in memory of Hazel Ryland, who was a longtime volunteer at the library. And I have since starting to get a couple more from people who knew her. And I talked to the staff about what we should do with this money that really reflected what Hazel did at the library and what she loved doing and everything. and we came to the agreement that we were going to help out the homebound outreach program, and they're going to be designing a logo for reusable bags, so Sandy can take them a bag full and leave it, and she'll have enough that she can take another bag full and pick up the empty bag when she does that, and all the remaining money that is left from that donation and from any future donations will be used to buy large print books, because Sandy said that's what most of the patrons request for her. And there will be book plates that go in each book telling who donated the money for it and all of that. So her name will be around for a long time.
That's excellent. Thank you so much.
I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update. Phyllis and I and Sina and Kat, who I guess I haven't met yet, have been working on the gift catalog, and it's moving forward. We've seen a prototype, and we like it. It's really cool. There's little minor touches to do, but we think we've got a lot of the nuts and bolts out of the way, and we've got little things we consider little, I mean, getting it to this point. So kind of excited that in near future, we're going to have a finished product. Are we going to take it to the Friends Board in April, right? We're going to talk to them about it. And, we think, I'm really encouraged. And actually, Sina said she likes it, which is half the battle as far as I'm concerned.
Excellent. Thank you very much, John. All right. If there are no other board member announcements, then we can move on to item 9, public comment. If any members of the public wish to address the library board, please come forward at this time. Seeing none, we can move on to item 11, which is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. We are adjourned. I always give you a little